Hello and welcome everyone to another event in the PMQ webinar series. I'm Brian Hernandez. We're going to give about another 30 seconds for any stragglers to come in, but we are not going to punish those who are here on time and early. So give us one more minute and we will begin the presentation here. It's going to be a good one today. I'm very excited about this one. All right, well, I think it's about time we can go ahead and continue. Hello and welcome to the PMQ webinar series. I'm your host, Brian Hernandez, and I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Today, we're going to be talking about how to master your operation with the right tech for your pizzeria. Now, with pizza sales in the US still on the rise, even in today's climate, the right restaurant management system is going to be at the forefront of how pizzeria owners reach their customers to increase their slice of the pie. Technology such as digital ordering saves pizzerias time and money, and it also meets their customers' expectations. Now we have a couple great speakers today from both sides of the aisle, operations and tech. They're going to speak about integration of technology, and then we're going to have a quick Q&A, or we're going to have a Q&A session at the end. So please submit any questions that you may have in the questions tab in your dashboard for GoToWebinar. So without further ado, I would like to introduce today's speakers. First, we have Michael Nixon, owner of Papa's Pizza Cafe in Cloverdale, California. Michael is going to share how he's evolved his pizzeria over the last 30 years, leveraging technology to better serve his customers and reach new ones. And joining Michael on the battlefield of change today, we also have Lee Truong. Now, Lee has owned and operated multiple restaurant concepts and has spent the last 9 years with HungerRush, utilizing his skills as a corporate trainer and product manager. So Lee, why don't you go ahead and take it away, brother?
Thank you, Brian. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on today's webinar. We are excited to host another webinar with PMQ. This is our first webinar. If this is your first webinar with us, we invite you to go back and take a look at some of our on-demand webinars from the last few months. We have a ton on the agenda today, so without much further ado, we'll be covering today's following topics. So we'll be talking about Papa's Pizza Cafe, evolving your restaurant tech, your digital ordering and customer adoption, what works, what doesn't, taking Papa's Pizza Cafe to the next level, and upcoming events, and we'll end the entire thing with a Q&A too. So currently right now, there is a slide for the, there's poll questions right now. If you guys could take a look at that. What it is, the question is, which restaurant management solutions are you guys using today? Your input is greatly appreciated in this situation too. So we'll hold here for a little second and you guys can go ahead and take a look at that poll. Feel free to choose multiples, all, whatever you guys are using today. And while we wait for you guys to choose some questions, let's see, Mr. Nixon, you have been at that wonderful restaurant for almost 3 decades now. My question is, when you go up there, what is your #1 choice for food? What do you like to eat at your own place?
Oh, I have to go back to the original, good morning, thank you, or actually afternoon for most people now. My name is Mike Nixon. I've been at Papa's Pizza Cafe since August of '88. And when I first started there that summer, before we actually opened, we did what's nowadays called, not quite a, I guess you'd say in certain places, a white pizza. So we would take, we didn't have any sauce, we didn't have anything. We just had some cheese and dough because we were just practicing. So the guy that was training us went back, got a cutting board out, took some tomatoes, sliced them, put olive oil, tomatoes, put some cheese on there, a little garlic, oregano, threw that through the oven. We still have that pizza on 32 years later called the Brazilian. And to this day, I can still, it gives me goosebumps thinking about eating that because it was so good and so something so different from not always eating pepperoni my whole life or combination.
So I remember during my times, I fell in love with a tortellini soup and stuck to that every day pretty much. It was really hard to try not to gain weight. So. So let's continue with that poll. So decades-long success, story in the making, and so on. So just wanted to jump a little bit into the background on what you talked about a little bit too, and which is interesting about your journey too, is you started working there and then at some point in time, you decide to make that decision to go ahead and purchase. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when we first opened, there was a gentleman that came in from San Francisco. So our original recipes and everything from North Beach, San Francisco. So we were really traditional on what we had. And the guy that came in, he trained us, and that was in August when we started. And then by around December, he left. There was an issue with he and the owner. The owner never worked there. They were always off premise. So it was always us as the employees. We're the ones that did everything. And so I took over, I co-managed with another guy. He did delivery and dough, and I did sauces and pizza. But before all that started, of course, I washed dishes and did all those things like that you're supposed to learn. And so I worked my way up the ranks. After a few years of that and working through school, the owner, he moved, he got transferred. So at 22, he said, hey, look, you've been doing everything. And I had at that point, had payroll and the whole works, everything by hand, of course. He said, why don't you buy the restaurant from me? And I said, okay, no problem. I'm already doing it for him. So that's how that started. So at 22, I took over and I owned my own restaurant.
Oh, wow. So any tips to offer aspiring pizza owners?
Yes, I would definitely say know your craft. When I first started and took over as owner, I went back to school in the daytimes and took some business classes. So I took business math, some business English classes, and really tried to teach myself or to learn something so that, you know, when you're a business owner, you're pretty much the jack of all trades. And so I really tried to, you know, to learn a lot about my own business, so that if somebody did do something or something did happen someday, I can say like, oh yeah, nope, I see that, there's the mistake, versus always trying to be dependent on people.
Gotcha. And of course, for a fun question, the eternal debate, what type of oven are you using?
Well, of course, when we first opened, it was the Blodgett, the deck ovens. Loved them. They worked great. But the only issue is that you've got to know how to work those ovens. So at the time when I was managing, I was like, okay, these are great, but the problem was that I was the one that did the ovens, myself or another guy, and you know, you get some battle scars from doing those ovens, and so we worked with those. But as our business continued to grow, our volume of business continued to grow, we needed to do something else. So I was at the pizza convention, and one year, because I've gone for about 25 years now, was there one year, and I saw these ovens, and they were on a conveyor belt. I thought, that's kind of interesting. And I always say they're teenager proof. You put them on one end, and they come out the other, and they're done. No one gets hurt. They're cooked. So we went that direction, and just for one more piece of the background, so about 5 years ago, we actually moved, and we moved to a different location, roughly I'd say almost 200 feet down the road. And when we did that, it made a huge difference on our business. And of course, we bought new equipment and stuff, but I stayed with the Lincoln Impingers, and to this day, I still have. Now I have them big enough so they'll hold two 16-inch pizzas side by side.
Ooh, that's always useful too. So, obviously, you've formed strong opinions on technology over the years. We are leaps and bounds ahead of what we had available in the 90s, and you were at the forefront and had a front row seat into that evolution. Can you talk about what you were doing for business and progression to onboard with a robust restaurant management system?
Oh yeah, you say leaps and bounds. That is not a lie. We first started, of course, with tickets, and I even remember one time I was thinking about this, that we had these little stickers that stuck on the front of our delivery boxes, and they had little check marks on them. And so when the pizza would go out, it'd say like, you know, cheese, pepperoni, and you had to stick them on the front of those boxes. Well, guess what? Pizza boxes get warm, and there's moisture, so those stickers, they wouldn't even stay on. So the drivers would come back, and it was just a mess. So that we worked through that part of it. And when I made the move and transitioned over, we more than tripled our business. So we went from a little tiny restaurant that had just primarily always takeout and delivery, and hardly any dine-in, to a nice location of more than 2,000 square feet, new bar, new furniture. And in doing that, my manager, my main manager, she said, she comes from the restaurant industry too. She has 20 some years. She said, look, you need a POS system. I'm like, I don't need a POS system. We can always do this. Well, that lasted probably about a year. And I went back to the pizza convention again and started looking. And here was HungerRush and a couple of other vendors out there that I was looking at the time, and decided to go with HungerRush. The main thing, I'll always go back to this, was our main decision was because it easily showed us how to do the half and halves, which is always a confusing thing when you're taking orders, is how to show the half and halves. So that worked, and now we use. I mean, now I don't know how I get away without not having the POS system. It's just changed our whole world.
Gotcha. So, heading to the pizza show, finding that two-knit technology and so what, and implementing that must have been a huge implementation for you guys. So, how did you guys handle that, bringing this new technology into your store?
Well, again, some of it, I would say I went kicking and screaming, because I'm that old generation that I still didn't use my phone for anything. I didn't really do that kind of technology. And of course, I have high schoolers and college kids that work for me, and they grew up with this stuff. I mean, they use their phones for everything. So I thought, okay, we'll give this a shot. We'll see how this goes. I mean, but when I say give it a shot, you just don't give it a shot, because this is not, you got to make sure you understand that you're going to lay out some money to install this, and it's going to take some time. I had to have computer people in there to run wires and do all this. And after getting back from the convention and talking to people at HungerRush, it just made sense. So we continue to move along. One of the interesting things I think has kind of been fun is that we can make changes on our own while we're there, or I can call up and get one of the techs, and they usually can fix most anything within about 5 minutes or so. It's great to have that kind of service, which is really helpful for us, which was a concern of mine, because as we know, if your computer goes down, you got to get up and running, because you're not taking any orders.
Gotcha. And that leads us to our next part too. So let's dive further into the technology that we're talking about too. So digital ordering, how were you able to teach customers how to shift from calling to ordering online with this new channel that we provided? So what did those features like suggestive selling and adding toppings mean for your business also?
Well, so we're a small little town. We're in Northern California, and unfortunately there's the fires and everything around us right now. And that's been a piece to it for us, is that the tech has been, let's see, how do I put this? It's been, again, a learning curve for me, but for my employees was easy. They just took it and ran with it. You can put up certain signs and do different things in the background that helps. The hardest part was the customers, because you're asking them for their email addresses. And a lot of people were like, give you my email address. Why would I do that? What are you going to send me something? No, I'm not going to market. It's not sold. It's my material. It's my information. I'm not going to send that out there to you or send it out to a third party. So the employees, they transitioned really easily. Again, it's the customers that were a little bit nervous. And now that we have the online ordering, and and now we have the app also. So we pretty much try to integrate into everything to make it convenient for our customers and easy.
Yep. I've seen this for myself, but from app ordering, from your opinion, I know when I order online, I just splurge. If someone asks me in person to add additional brownie, and I look at my waistline and say no, but online, I myself would pick up 2 of those brownies. So for you guys using the online ordering, have you seen any changes to the order types, amounts?
Well, that's a really good question, because I was thinking about that the other day too. I will tell you that our business is up over last year, over 2019. and which was a real surprise to me because looking at the numbers, I can see all the in the reports, and seeing where things have been. The one of the things that's been kind of what we've been able to add is that we can now sell alcohol through the system, and what I mean that is off premise. So we were able to adapt and change our menu around so that we can now sell you a 32-ounce beer, craft beer, because of where we're located, of course, out the door. And it's worked out really well for us for that reason. So that's one thing we've noticed is our beer sales have stayed, fairly steady on that part of it. Of course, they're down because of not having the indoor dining, but they still stayed where I'm surprised the amount of beer that we're actually still selling. The other part of it that we've noticed too is that, yeah, I would definitely say that the training part for people in learning how to make those orders, you definitely, when you talk to someone or you can see the orders come through, a person would normally have maybe got, yeah, I'll get an extra large, but now they're doing maybe a large and a small because they can see it. They're adapting to that part of it to say, oh, I can do this now.
Good to hear. Good to hear. So let's see, next part. Can you take us in the weeds a bit for some of what has worked well with you over the years and what you would like to see improved?
Well, the biggest part, of course, for us that's worked well, the POS, when we first got it, of course, there was a few, as with anything, right? There was a few little things like, oh, this doesn't work or that doesn't work. And as we were trained and as we were going through the system and learning the things that we had not done right, it really worked. It's worked well. I mean, all of a sudden, I can now be at my office, which I'm currently at, and be able to review what's going on at the restaurant. I can see where the numbers are. I can see where the labor costs, what orders have come in on that part of it. So for a person that had multiple stores, this would be fantastic. You would just always know what's going on out there on that part of it. The online ordering, I will say right now, because of we're just getting into it now, and the app is going to be the way of the future. I mean, we already know that with COVID, people don't, you can't see people, or it's contactless. So that I'm glad that we're way ahead of this, because a lot of my friends or other people in the industry that weren't, they're either not in the industry anymore or they just have been shut down. They just have had a really hard time doing it. And I would say that that's also been one of that was initially a challenge, I would say, for us, that we were like, oh my gosh, how are we going to survive for this? But our customers understood. They call in. Well, we can now offer something you guys are doing, which is the curbside. We always offered the curbside since it started, but now we actually have an ability to have it built into our tech. So that's been really helpful for us too, for that reason. But initially I thought that was going to be kind of a scary thing too, because how is this going to work? Some people can't even come into the restaurant.
And that moves us on to our next question too. So it's always about growing and evolving your practices too. How have you refined your business to further set you apart from other similar competitors out there?
Well, I would, here's a big part of it for us, because we're a small business in a small community. I like to be ahead of the game. That's why I go to the pizza convention every year, because maybe there's something out there that I see that would make us, more efficient. Again, we're a small business. I need to make money. And in order to do that, and I have more than 25 employees. Most of them are all part-time, of course, but they're there working. I want to make sure that they're safe. I want to make sure that they have good tech. And sometimes they bring me some ideas and they say, have you ever tried this before? No, I didn't even know that was something out there, because I'm a consumer also. So I go out and eat out and like to see what's going out there. But my employees have definitely been a key part of that. Both my day manager, who's again had experience, and she brings me new ideas, to my night manager, who keeps an eye on everything, and then my employees are just they're good, solid group of people.
Gotcha. How's the gift card situation has been working out for you guys? I've had quite a few customers where the gift card sales have been going up quite a bit during this wonderful little pandemic light that we're going through. Curious of how that's working out for you guys.
Oh yeah, now that we're able to integrate the gift cards, so we found, obviously with you guys, there's an integration thing in there, and we have the gift cards where they're customized, where there are logo on them, on that part of it. So there's the physical gift cards, and it's really convenient too, because now we can take that gift card and enter it right into the POS system. So if people do come in and get a physical one, and of course now they have the digital ones, so they can actually buy them and use them that way too. So people can keep track of everything that happens. Where we see the biggest bump for gift cards is during the holidays. So I had a customer come in and they bought, $500 in cards and gave them away to their management, their employees, and all these different increments that they wanted to buy them for, and all because they said, they know that their employees will get some advantage out of it, and they'll use it over other cards they could have done.
Gotcha. And how has your loyalty evolved over the time too? How have you implemented your loyalty before, and what are you guys doing now for a loyalty program?
Well, the loyalty is, initially that was one of those frightening things, I think, to most people, when they thought, oh, I don't want to give you my email address. And then once we had given them an explanation of how it works, you kind of have to train them to say, hey, look, for this amount of money, then you get your some money off. And I go, oh, well, so I get something out of this deal? Yes, you're not going to get solicited or hustled by us. So they're like, yeah, sure, I'll sign up. So we just have to, and that's a part of it for us as we're talking to the customers on the phone. Hey, would you like to review or would you like to sign up for the loyalty program? And now that one of the other things we're doing now too is, because of COVID, we're really starting to market more and more with that ability. So we have all those emails, and it's just, again, it's in-house. So we've been sending them every week. We send them out a message that says, hey, it's Happy Hour Monday, or it's a family style pizza Tuesday and wine Wednesday. So it gets people, first of all, the repeat business is where it's at. We already know that. It's great to get that extra business with tourists and have them to come. And we have some great followers outside of our community that come back all the time. But we need that repeat business. And the loyalty program really does help with that part of it. And now that it's all tied into the online ordering, it's a no-brainer for people to do that.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm coming back all the time, hopefully spending a little bit more too. But yes. So a few months before this, what would you say your percentage was before of how many dine-in versus delivery you guys would do? Were you guys 70% dine-in, 30% delivery?
Yeah. Okay. So when I moved the restaurant, the old restaurant was not, it wasn't like a big dine-in location. And so when we moved, we wanted it to be a place where you could, I always tell people I wanted a place where I would want to go and sit and eat. So we made it comfortable. There's nice padded benches, these nice tables. And when it was like, wow, it flipped. So we had to reorganize our staff and have people out on the floor and to do things like that we had never done before. So that was a new process for me. And so we were probably, initially when we moved, probably 75% dine-in and initially, okay? Then it leveled out to about 50-50. And now that we have this ability to encourage I look at the numbers because HungerRush sends me a report every Monday, and it tells me how the week went, and it's doubled. Since March, our numbers have more than doubled, and now the app numbers are on there, and you really can see it go up even more. So we're up quite a bit since that part of it. Obviously now we're takeout and delivery only, but I'll be really interested to see what happens to, I know initially when COVID's over or when we get back to normal, we'll see a big push initially, but when it levels out again, to see how many people actually are just continue to order online in the app. It's a change for people.
Much so. It has changed us quite a bit too, and what we're focusing on too nowadays, making sure that people we provide you guys with the technology that you need for that you can accommodate all this fun stuff too. But that does lead us into our next question too. So just from your looking at your Facebook alone and the amount of activity that you've done there, even the greatest tech would mean nothing without a strong team being in the line. Can you talk about how you're leading your team and some of the ways y'all have adopted over the last couple of months too on this whole big old change also?
Yeah, that's been just like anybody else out there. That's been a fun process, and man, you just learn as you go on this stuff, kind of by the seat of your pants. The cross training is I have to tell you, it's my employees. I've been so pleased with them, and when this happened, we were really lucky that we didn't let anybody go. We moved people around. The bartender now answers phones. The busser now answers phones. So we were really able to do that. And people that didn't answer the phones or take orders now are learning to answer the phone. So that the cross training has been really important for us. And people that never even did the front now, they're out there on the floor. Of course, we all have our plexiglass and our masks on in this part of it. So we've all had to be retrained ourselves in doing it. Our phone script has changed because originally, you'd go through the whole process. Yes, how's this or that? Now, it's like at the very end of the conversation, we'll see you at the door or at the window, and with your mask on. So that's been really an interesting part of it for us. Of course, teaching our employees that part, and it's been great for us because you can see our picture there. Well, in front of our building, we actually have a pass-through window that we originally wasn't designed as a pass-through window, but it was originally because we're on our boulevard, and we have events and festivals, and we can hand pizzas right out that window now. So it's totally contactless for that reason. And having that ability now to have the curbside, that's all new. That's going to be something new for us now too. We press the button, hey, I'm here. It just makes a big difference.
Ooh. So just out of curiosity too, I've had team members who stayed with me for 8+ years. What is your longest team member? How long have they been with you?
She's been with me. Let's see. She started when she was 16. I won't tell you how old she is now, but she's probably been with me. Maybe she wasn't 16. Gosh, about 20 years. So went off, came back. Now she's one of my assistant managers during the day, one of the supervisors. Our business is kind of set up like that way so that we have the people that need to be responsible at night, whether it's a parent that they can come and work during the day and get everything prepped as we know needs to be done, and then they're able to go home. So that's really worked out for her. But I would say the average of most of my employees is probably 2 to 3 years. Most everyone stays because we're really lucky that we have 2 colleges in our area that are about 30 minutes to 45 minutes away. And so I can usually keep most of the employees for a period of time.
Yep, keeping staff around and not since there's so many opportunities nowadays where they can just walk across the street and grab another job and so on. What is your secret to keeping them for that long of a tenure?
I have a philosophy that you have to lead by example and treat people the way you want to be treated. So I will tell you that I still will be out there and I'll clean the bathrooms. I'm still sweeping, making pizzas. I always find funny that some of the kids, when they first start, the new ones, they look at me and they're like, why are you doing all that when you have people to do that? And I'd say, well, because I'm doing it because I want to make sure you realize that we're all equal here and we're all pulling our weight because it doesn't work any other way. In my opinion, I don't have that. I could never be that guy that to be yelling and screaming at people. I don't think it doesn't come through right for people. So most of my employees, and I always tell my employees too when they leave, go off to college or whatever's going on with them, I'll say, hey, if you ever find another employer like me, I want to know who this person is, because I'm kind of different in that sense. My wife and I, we've been here our whole lives, and it's a big part of it for us to be a part of our community and supporting our town, and that shows. Most of these kids have come through and have been eating pizza with me since they were little.
So that leads us to our next question too. Your community outreach has been amazing. Everyone knows that maintaining customers is much, much more beneficial than trying to reach out and find a brand new customer, replace that customer that you already lost. What are you doing that's so magical that you're able to maintain all these customers and repeat business?
Well, if you had been here any time in your life and played any kind of sports, you probably have a jersey or a shirt or something that has Papa's Pizza Cafe on the back of it. We have supported everything and have, I don't know how many plaques I've had through the years with the kids' pictures on there. And, people will come in and they'll say, do you remember? The other thing which is kind of fun too, so we're very community oriented. What I've done for years also is that the second graders come in every year and they learn to make pizza. Well, obviously they didn't get to do it this year, but they come to the restaurant. We give them all their own individual doughs, and they make pizza. And I've had so many, and a lot of my current employees will say, "Do you remember that time you showed me how to make pizza?" Of course, I'm like, yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's been a big part of it. I mean, I've been the mayor of our town. I really feel like if I'm going to take from the community, then I got to give back. So there's never a Rotary that we don't donate something to, or an organization. I actually spent yesterday afternoon working with one of the local organizations, because we're going to be an evacuation center, and so I was helping them organize through our paper distributor of where to get the things they need because of COVID. So our paper guy, he was on the road, and he and I were texting and getting them all organized to help them with that.
Gotcha. What has been some of your outreach initiatives that you've done so far? What tools have you been using? Facebook? Anything else?
Well, for sure, when I wasn't really a big Facebook person, I had never really used it that much. And most of my employees are like, "What's wrong with you? You got to get on Facebook." So we've adapted, of course, and we've used Facebook a lot. And I do the promotion through that part of it. So there's going to be something going on. But now that we have so many emails in our database, we've been sending out those links, and those have been really helpful also. The email blasts, and people, they do notice that. So whenever someone does go online and they comment, whether it be any of the social media, through any of the websites, we respond. I mean, I respond to everything, good, bad, and different. I always want to make sure that if it's something like that we, someone says, "Hey, my pizza was late. Hey, sorry about that. Here's what we can do. We'll help you on the next go round." Or, "Hey, I think that all of us feel that same way. Social media can make or break you too. And a lot of times we get those people that will just email me or call privately and say, "Hey, Mike, last night the pizza wasn't up to quality." Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for calling and letting me know, because we can correct those things and make adjustments, whether it's a staffing issue or last night the power went out. All those kind of things can be, if you talk to people versus what happens a lot of times on social media, where people just will throw things out there. It's tough at times, but we really try to use that to our advantage.
So yeah, that leads us to our next question too. So certainly you've come a long way in your business. From my count, just about 3 decades almost, give or take a few years. But in some ways, it's only the beginning for you. As you look to optimize some of your functionality you're currently using, what's a great way for you to spend time with you, talking about some easy tweaks to optimize your digital ordering channels or to make life a little bit easier for your guests and staff? Aside for the goals around technology, if we look into a crystal ball, what are some of the hopes and goals you have for Papa's Pizza's Cafe?
Well, short term, definitely getting back to normal. and getting people back in the restaurant. I mean, I see so many people, or when they call on the phone and say, we miss coming in, and everybody having that part of it. It's a big, we're a community, and we all, we want to see each other. We like that. It's a great feeling for all of us. So that would be short term would be, let's get back to normal on this, whatever that's going to take. The growth part of it for me, I see you have that says welcome to our beer garden. We're really next door to us used to be an old gas station, so all the tanks have been removed, and they're in the final stages of getting it cleared off. Well, that's where I would love to expand our business initially. It's right next door to us. I'd like to have a really nice beer garden within a stone's throw. I mean, I say that as a jokingly, but we have some amazing beer breweries in our area. So we could easily have a really nice we currently have 10 beers on tap. We could easily add another 20, all of different breweries. And of course, we're in Sonoma County, so we're wine country. So we have great, choice of all these different things that we can have. So a beer garden next door would be fantastic. Plus, our weather is really good, so we could take it clear into November, no problem whatsoever. And it would expand my menu. And what I mean by that is I would go with the wood-fired ovens and go with that outdoor feeling and change everything. Fortunately, our system with HungerRush would allow me to do that. I could grow that way, and make menu changes on the fly, which is kind of convenient. And if we did anything, going down the road and maybe even expanding, because I have talked to different people about that through the years, it would be very simple to be able to take that process and walk it into another location. Of course, I've learned that old saying about location after tripling my business from just being down the street. So that would be a big part of it. And there was no way I could do it without having something like the computer now to help with that, with the POS.
I've seen some very popular comments too about the particular specials you guys have. Any particular pizzas that you guys are doing for specialties?
Well, unfortunately, so we have always done, since we started, we've done a pizza of the month. And it was, honestly, my wife created most of the creation. She always comes up with all kinds of stuff. What the fun thing about pizza is what is pizza? It's bread with some sauce, with some meat, which can be pasta dishes, all sandwiches. So it's been fun. You name it, we have made it. The only issue that we're running into right now is that with the supply chain. So when this all started, we had issues with pork, so pepperoni. Then we ran into a wings issue, so poultry. Butter was an issue, milk. So we've had some real problems with that. So we haven't offered a pizza of the month since this all started back in March, because sometimes we can't get prosciutto in, or we can't get goat cheese in for that reason. So we've stayed it nice and steady. And actually, most people at this point have just enjoyed that comfort food. They still want their traditional combination, or maybe just a pepperoni for the night. And that comfort in these times is kind of helpful.
I saw the goat cheese spicy jelly prosciutto. I am salivating at the mouth right now. That sounds amazing. So let's see. So, yep, and that pretty much ends our conference for now, guys. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Michael. We are proud to play a part in the success you've seen with your pizzeria. Before we move on to the Q&A portion, though, for our presentation, we are really excited to mention that HungerRush is hosting its first ever virtual user conference on September the 1st, 2020. And there's still time to register. We'll have breakout sessions focused on a deep dive for all our products, what's coming on the roadmap, customer panels, exciting industry experts, guest speakers, a keynote speaker that you won't want to miss, and much, much more. So there we go. Let's go check if we have any questions, folks.
All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for such a informative presentation there. I hope everybody had a good time, or write down your questions. Now's the time to get those questions asked in the question tab on your dashboard. So we do have some questions that have made it in, but we're going to spend the next 15 minutes, probably 10 to 15, asking some of these questions. One of the first ones that we got, I'm going to try to do them in order as best I can, but one is, what's one lesson learned from onboarding a new restaurant technology? And I assume that this is probably for Michael. What were some of the baby steps you had to do going forward, integrating all this stuff?
Take your time and learn what works best for you. I would say that when I started to look at these, it took me, so we're at the pizza convention. It was almost a year later because I was trying to do, through all the different companies, was trying to figure out which one was going to work best for us and for my business, the way it works. And then when we did get it in, the guy that was there was really helpful. But I mean, he was there. I feel like he worked like a 24-hour shift. He was there. He implemented it. He was there most of the night.
So they were able to be there, actually, not to be rude, but hold your hand through it too, because I understand that integrating anything that's new. I fear technology as well. I was listening to you, and luckily I was muted because I was laughing. I'm like, I know exactly what he's talking about. So they make it painless, I guess.
Yeah, holding my hand. Yeah, he definitely had to hold my hand. Some of my other employees, they're like, "Oh, Mike, you just do this or do that." Like, how would I know that?
Well, actually, the second question we have, I believe, is for you as well. Well, definitely is. How did closing your dine-in affect staffing, and what changes did you make? I know there were some that you talked about, as far as like definitely the cross-training once you got the new technology, just to make sure that they are still, I don't want to say relevant in there, but they still have something that they could do and contribute while still keeping employment. What are some of the changes that you had to make, and how did closing the dine-in affect the staffing?
So here's what we ended up doing. I remember the day exactly. It was that for us in California, it was March 16th. So I went to my employees and I sent out a mass text and I said, okay, guys, here's where we're at. Everybody obviously knows what's going on. And I asked them, I said, anybody want to volunteer to, or doesn't feel comfortable? You don't have to stay on. I was okay with that. I didn't, no one's forced to be there. And so there was 3 people that actually said, you know what, this is just, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be exposed to anything. So 3 of them did leave, and they decided that was their thing, which was, I very much appreciated that because that allowed us to move some things around. And so those that were left, like I say, what we ended up doing was those people that said, okay, I'm out, we ended up backfilling with the normal person that, would have been at the front counter, now is in the back learning to, or not really learning again, but just relearning how to do certain things. Everybody is cross-trained always, but no one is proficient. No, I wouldn't say everybody's really super proficient, but now you have to be pretty proficient on what's going on. And what I mean by that, the biggest key to us is those telephones. Learning how to answer that phone and making sure that you're smiling every time you answer that phone, because you don't want to rush people. And I think that's why I'm so excited about the online ordering in the app, is because it's hard when you give the wrong inflection. I mean, obviously we know how texting can be, or emailing can be. You give the wrong inflection and people get like, wait a second, what are they not happy with me? So online, it makes it very impersonal, and they can definitely do what they want too. I mean, they can order, and the system doesn't allow them to do anything they want, but it definitely helps to guide them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like you said, just as we all know, you send a text and it can get taken out of context, since there is, like you said, you can't get the inflection. So, all right. Well, it sounds like everybody was raring to go, and there's no shame in not feeling safe. So this is a new crazy time. We're all getting used to it. We have a third question here. This is a very respectful person. I like that. They want to know, do they need to make an appointment for customer support? I like that they're asking and not just demanding. I guess that's for you, Lee.
Oh yeah, no appointment needed. Ideally, you would call directly in. We are 24/7. So if you are trying to figure out why you're missing $5 and you're short $5 in that cash drawer at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can call us and we can help you right through it too. But you pick up the phone immediately. We are touting about a 90% first call resolution rate right now. So you
Oh, very
can
nice.
you can keep it pretty high hopes that your issue will be resolved right in that phone call. So yep, no need to make an appointment.
Okay. Are there any on-demand resources that HungerRush offers?
So quite a few. Ideally, there's a bunch of training videos too. I am personally in charge of updating the contents for new patch notes, new features, and so on. So it's actually open to the public too. So if they want to take a look at our products, look at manuals, YouTube videos, I do hope you enjoy the sound of my voice, because I do narrate all those videos also too. So you can listen to me forever.
All right. Well, with the increase in to-go orders just across the country, have there been any like new unique menu bundles or products that you guys scramble to get out there and get proficient at the onset of this?
Oh, quite a bit. As you can see in my title, the product manager also too for this fun stuff. So it just changed our whole development route also. So when this whole the COVID thing hit and so on, we had to just change gears. We were focusing on increasing our kiosks and making sure there were all these wonderful little features to make stuff quicker, easier to use. But all of a sudden, no one wanted to touch anything anymore too. So yeah, so we had to do quite a few changes and whatnot. What we did was we made some bundles to address the situation that most people are having. So do I need to replace my entire system to get online ordering? Nope. We have made a smaller package where you can just put one computer in the back and we can enable online ordering for you. And that enables curbside pickup too, and no touch contactless ordering also too. So just for a in between, we can just put in a little station there and handle all your online ordering in those aspects too. So trying to help you out during these interesting times also.
And if somebody runs into a problem that you guys haven't addressed before, I mean, that's something that you guys address immediately. Maybe it actually helps that function work better. I mean, not like you're taking customer requests, but if somebody has an issue that you guys hadn't thought about, or something happens and you get it fixed, I mean, are you using the customer's experience to kind of drive innovation on that end as well?
100%. That's how we built our entire company. We are 100% in control of our own code. I will say it horribly. I gladly steal your ideas and make it our own and whatnot. So I can probably count to about 90% of these features that you see here is from a ask from a customer of some sort. So they all have an origin of someplace. And with my background and with the owners, original programmers' backgrounds, we all have extensive restaurant backgrounds. So we have all known how it felt to be in the weeds and so on.
Yeah.
And just as a funny additional note, my favorite position working wise, I always love being an expediter. Favorite position.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I mean, definitely a feeling of accomplishment getting that stuff out the door. So I have another question here from Michael. What is the current state of the California market as far as restaurants and pizzerias, and how much are you relying on the tech that has been added? It sounds like you're heavily relying on it. But I mean, what's the current state of California? We hear a lot at PMQ about all the other states in the country, and it's hard for me to keep track of how everybody's faring. How are you guys over there?
Well, so for us, it we definitely had our share of issues with the shutdowns, and let's put it this way too. In the last few years, we've had our share of natural disasters with fires, with power outages, and we're already getting a taste of that now. So I will tell you this though, is that for our restaurant, we ended up installing a generator, so we can now fully function. And this morning, before this meeting even started, I went into the restaurant and now I have a battery backup on the internet. And I didn't even think about that initially, but
Right.
if we lose internet, that means no orders for the moment. So I've had that, just installed that so as a battery backup to help on that. So the tech is really critical for us, because I can get orders when the power went, when we lost not power, but when the fires were around us in 17, I turned off. I was able to go through our local provider, our phone provider, and had all the calls routed to our cell phones. So we never missed a beat. The calls just went in. We just kept operating.
Oh, very good. Okay. I have a quick question here, and I'm going to ask this of both of you guys. I do like it, kind of keep your answers short so we don't, because there are several more questions, but this one I think is a really good one, both for Michael and Lee. What is your favorite new technology or innovation in use today through HungerRush? What is kind of your favorite one to play around with, or you think is the most important in your operation at this point? Go ahead, Michael. You can go ahead first.
Sure. So we just got the app about 2 to 3 weeks ago up and running, and I'm really excited about that because now we actually have, because it's where we're going. I mean, online has been great and it's been really a help for us, but I think that the app now is what people were waiting for. The online was definitely web-based. You could use it, but people just, I mean, that's what they're looking for is the app. So I'm definitely, that's going to be a real game changer, I think, for us.
Okay. What's one of the favorite ones you put out recently, Lee, or your favorite of the whole toy box?
Yeah, well, there's a lot. I guess overall, it's an overall thing. It's pretty much, I get delighted every single time I can save someone time, because that's something you just can't put a price on. If I can get you home earlier by automating stuff, getting your emails out automatically, marketing automatically, or doing your loyalty program where you don't have to hand write down stuff and whatnot, it's a whole plethora of stuff like that that makes me happy. And get you home earlier where you have to sit there 2 hours after closing, crunching your numbers and emailing spreadsheets to everybody,
Yeah,
or having to get there or having to get there super early just to knock out some things that you weren't able to handle last night too. So things like that. So
yeah, that was my MO. Is I'm too tired. I'll do it in the morning, and then I'm like, why am I getting up so early? It happens sometimes, but that's great. Yeah, like you said, anytime you can help somebody. And I know asking you that question is like people ask me what my favorite pizza is. I say, well, it's like asking somebody who their favorite child is. But they're all special in their own way. So
yeah.
All right. Well, okay. So this one I really liked when you were talking about emails and how people are sometimes hesitant to give that. And I know we've only got about 8 minutes left. So if you have any final questions, guys, put them in the questions tab and we'll get to them. But this one is, and let me see if I can understand the wording, is what's the minimum amount of information that you need to get from a customer, such as email or just a phone number? Obviously, if it's a delivery, it's the address and all that. But I mean, to get them integrated into your system, and actually, which is easier to get? Are people more hesitant to give out a phone number or an email or both? In today's world, we're giving out our email left and right. So I'm just wondering what you guys see from the operations and the tech standpoint.
Well,
go ahead.
From my set, I was just going to say, for my part of it, most people they don't have like the caller ID makes a big difference. So it automatically pre-populates that on most, not all of them, but on most. And so all I need to get then is if they want to be included in the loyalty program, I just need your email address.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And for us to create a unique account of some sort, it's either email address in the name or a phone number in the name, and that can create that profile for you too. So that's the bare minimum that you need.
Okay, perfect. So a name and either email or phone number. So I was kind of thinking that's what it would be, but everybody's hesitant lately, and you can't blame them.
Yep. Statistics-wise, we've been keeping track of that. So as long as you apparently apply the value of at least $1.26, most people are okay with giving your email address of some sort. So statistics are keeping track in the background. I can get a free taco. Here is my email address.
I'll give you my mom's. Can I have her taco? All right. So I have another question here. I got two more real quick. Wait, here we go. Is it possible to have customers sign up for the rewards program online instead of doing it over the phone?
Mm-hmm. We can do both ways. We can do it in store or online also. So online, there will be a little check mark as you're checking out saying, hey, do you want to join a rewards program? You can place a little check mark there. And it also allows you to view your points and how far along you're coming to gather your points too. You can also do it in store also by just saying, hey, go and turn me to online orders. Loyalty and so on, and you can join the loyalty program that way too.
Okay, now I do have two more. That was a third one that came in, but these ones can kind of go together, and I think these are more directed towards you, Lee. And I can't remember if I heard you guys talking about it, but how easy is it to check your sales, labor, all your stats remotely? Say Michael's in the Bahamas and he just wants to check in. And also, does HungerRush integrate with existing POSs, or do you need to buy some new tech and infrastructure for that. And I'll just put those two out there, and if anything else comes up, but I figured I'll just let you know what they both are, and you can address those, Lee.
Okay. So for the, I'm sorry, I'm answering this backwards, but I remember the last question, but the HungerRush question, the integration and so on, currently we are working with a few people to do integrations, things of the third-party ordering here and there, but since it's our own program, ideally, if you have another point of sale of some sort, we need at least one of our terminals to be ours to be able to intake the information into our systems correctly. So other than third-party orderings here and there is no full integration with any other point of sales out there. So currently right now, in the situations, we just put one station in there, make it print out wherever it needs to print out, and that's pretty much how we handled that. And I totally forgot the previous question.
Well, the other one was, how easy is it to check your POS remotely with HungerRush? Now HungerRush, I'm not sure exactly of every single aspect that it's managing, but you know, I remember when I was a GM, it was nice to be able to check it out when you got your staff there, just at the end of the night, see what the sales were. Is there integration for numbers and stats like that through HungerRush that you can check remotely?
Oh, much so. We provide you with an app too, where you can see some of your basic numbers. You can drill down to weird voids of why is there a $125 void? Who approved of this? When did it happen? And what ticket did it go to? And who do I need to call about this? Or you can do it from a laptop. So multiple ways to grab that information. It is real-time information too, and so it's updated quite frequently too.
Well, that's great. Well, I'm not seeing any more questions right now. I wanted to thank everybody who joined us and stuck around for the whole thing. You guys are rock stars. I want to thank our speakers today, Michael Nixon of Papa's Pizza Cafe and Lee Truong of HungerRush. We hope to see you guys at the next webinar with PMQ and HungerRush. We'll fill you in on those dates. If you want to catch this video, it will live forever online. You will get a reminder when the video comes out. Anything you want to just say to the world, guys? Just a final goodbye real quick before we sign off. Michael?
Stay safe.
Same here. Stay safe, eat pizza, enjoy life.
All right. Well, once again, thank you everybody for joining us on the PMQ webinar series with HungerRush. We'll see you guys next time, but they stole my sign off. I always say stay safe and stay sane. So we're all on the same page. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.